Well, thank y'all for coming on this windy day. It's always a joy to get to be in the company of friends and to talk ascension talk and have a good time. And we're going to have a little talk about what's going on the ascension path. And I love it if you ask questions. So just raise your hand if you got a question. And we're going to be wrapping up. This is our third and final group healing in New Mexico, and we're going to complete bringing the earth equivalences into the new Holy O Earth through the ascension process. And so that's going to be our work today. But first, we're just going to talk about what's going on the planet, and things are really changing very rapidly as the ascension process unfolds, and it's all about overcoming our shadow by learning to integrate our inner divinity into our shadow to enlighten it. And it's a beautiful thing, and it really all is about how we learn to handle the issues of our life. When problems, worries, and concerns come into our life, we really have two options. And the human thing to do is to try to figure it out and fix it yourself, and never realizing when you make that choice that self is actually the least capable part of our being to handle any issue. That part is only 10% conscious, and it has no knowing. And it's under the thumb of the negative ego. We've all heard it said that the negative ego's purpose is to defend ourselves. And come in. And the way that the negative ego defends ourselves is by seizing control of our consciousness through a programming from our authority from our outer world. And this is what belief consciousness actually is. And then the negative ego, in defending and justifying the belief system it imposes on ourself, it doles out fear, pain, and punishment to self. And that's the misery of that path, because fear will create anxiety and worry, and pain will create depression and anger, and punishment always creates suffering. And so if you have those kind of feelings going on, that's because you're trying to correct your problems yourself. And that's the least viable of all paths. And the other option is to learn to integrate your inner divinity into the problematic part of your life. And there's 3 steps that you have to learn to master, but you get good results even if you're not a master. But you just kind of understand that you have to surrender your problems to the divinity of life that beats your heart, and that is your access to the higher power. And all you have to do to lift all burden, stress, and strain off of you is to yield to the will of your inner holiness. When its whispering voice and gut knowing tells you what to do, you have to obey it. And thirdly is to show up in your day without apprehension and worry, and take your next step in trusting the divine flow of life. And when a person learns to get pretty good at that, a door to miracles will open into your life, and the most amazing things will happen. You will be flooded with opportunity and goodness that will come into your life. And so when our faith is in trusting the divine flow of life, we are always on the cutting edge to be shown, told, and led in the moment with a knowing that'll always work for us, and you will never doubt it. When your faith is in belief, you don't realize it when you're there, but you're actually telling the Holy Order what it's allowed to be, or you're not going to accept it. And that's not a good position to be in. You're lucky to get a drop in your bucket when that's your approach to life. And so that's the hard life. That's where you get starved out. That's where goodness and opportunity rarely come your way. And so the wise man chooses to do the parable of being a Christed being. And so I invite you today to give that a shot. And all human dilemmas can be healed in higher consciousness. If you have persisting problems in your life, the real problem is that those issues have your consciousness maxed out. And you can't quite get to it. It's like your head's against the ceiling, but the problem's in the attic, and you just can't get to it, and so it remains your problem. And the key is to ascend your consciousness into higher dimensions, and from that create a bigger picture of life, and that bigger picture will encompass what's in the attic, and all of a sudden you'll see it in a new light of higher consciousness and come to a higher level of understanding about it, and have your moment of truth and get free, and have a far greater capacity to keep your life in a good place. So ascension is a wonderful process that is occurring amazingly on the planet right now. This is not only the season of purging of our downfall world shadow, but it's also the season of ascension, and you can learn to rise above the chaos of the world around us by going into higher consciousness. And you see, the chaos in the world around us is coming up to come out. It's all from the bottom three paradigms, and those are miserable realities of consciousness. And anything that's taken to those bottom three paradigms are going to be very disappointing and very heartbreaking. Just like our political system, it's in the second paradigm. Well, that's the paradigm of duality, hypocrisy, and polarization of our collective consciousness. In the second paradigm, 10 people looking at the same thing will see 10 different things, and nobody will agree on any of it. And it's a crazy place to be, and no good is going to ever come of that. And getting in the new holy old earth, our political process will be going to the sixth paradigm, and at that level of consciousness, our collective of mass consciousness is united. We perceive the same thing by looking at the same thing, and we have common solutions for problems. It's right around the corner. And tremendous amount of purging of that second paradigm is happening, and that is actually, whether you like him or not, that's actually the role that Trump is playing. I think he's probably clueless about it, but he is a master of polarizing people, and that's what causes him to be effective in being the catalyst to purge the downfall world. And I think that's the swamp that's actually coming up to come out to be drained. So rise above it. You don't have to be down in it, and because it's a miserable place to be. And if you douse our political process, and I have done this, it's the very same frequency as WWF fake wrestling. And it's a staged event, and it's really a smokescreen so that a shell game can be played behind the smokescreen, where all the politicians get rich and no telling what they're passing through Congress and everything, where everybody's looking at impeachment. And they love to operate under a big smokescreen. And so we got to be smarter than that. And that's coming. But first of all, we have to purge our own shadow. And the beautiful thing about ascension, although it's not fun, is that the higher up the paradigm ladder you go, the deeper into your shadow is purged. And this is what ensures we clean up our mess as we ascend. It's not fun, but it's very necessary. And when you get to the level of cosmic consciousness, this is where we've all heard it said that humans use 1/10 of their brain. Well, the other 90% of the brain are the non-knowing centers of the brain that haven't worked since the downfall world, the school of understanding, came into this earth at the dawn of time. And to go to the school of understanding downfall world, you have to check your knowing in at the door and consent to have the components of your Trinity disassembled. And from there, you get to find your way back home, having one lesson after the next. And if you learn your lesson, you acquire understanding. And if you decide to live the parable of being a Christed being with your problems, you combine your understanding with Christ consciousness, and that will take you to the headwaters of receiving knowing from your inner holiness. And this is a beautiful thing. The full moon eclipse of September of 2015, you may or may not be able to remember that. It was a very big a deal when it happened. It started a 6-year exiting of the downfall world out of people and off the planet. That will be wrapping up in September of 2021, and then the scheduled event of 2022, actually a dual event of Armageddon and the Rapture are planned. And Armageddon turns out to be the end of the world of belief consciousness. And that's a very good thing, although things enshrouded in belief will have to come to terms with that. And that's where the bad stories of what it's going to be about come from. And then the rapture event is really nothing more than all the population of the earth being redistributed into 8 civilizations of the new holy O earth. And each person will be put into the perfect environment for them to continue their ascension. So they're both wonderful events that are coming in 2022. And these are all in a part of the purging of the downfall world and the purification of what's to come in the new holy O earth. The new holy O earth will start at the 6th paradigm, and that paradigm is where that's a reality of consciousness where you have positive feelings as a result of your experiences in life with other people. Wouldn't that be amazing? And it goes all the way to the 999 to the power of 7 dimensional paradigm, which is your androgyne function. And so all of that will be contained within the new holy O earth, and there will be 8 civilizations for the people of this planet to actually nurture and grow into their own ascension process. So that's really pretty phenomenal. This will be the 7th redistribution that's occurred since the downfall world. The ascension process has never gotten as far in other attempts as it has this time. And we're all the way up now through cosmic consciousness, although most people that's way beyond where they are personally, but the benefit of it is it pulls people in the right direction. And so everybody on this planet is stewing in the frequencies of higher consciousness, whether they understand it or not. And the 177 million light workers, a lot of you in this room are a member of that family, are doing a wonderful job, and the sacred gifts that you have to assist people to get to their next step of ascension. So it's really a wonderful, wonderful group of beautiful men and women and children that are listening to their inner holiness and taking their step through that divine process. It's a really amazing thing. Anybody got any questions so far? Cosima, you had a lot of questions last night.
Wow. It really takes some courage. You gotta stick your neck out there.
Well, we won't chop it off, you know.
Well, first of all, let's back up.
Okay.
I heard you say, and I'm not quite sure how you're meaning it. You said that this shift where the 8 civilizations occurred.
Yeah.
You said it's already occurred. It's happened
happened.
before.
Right.
Well, what did that look like?
Well, it looked like it got contaminated because other aspects of the ascension process in previous attempts faltered.
What does that mean?
That means it didn't work.
We got to do it over.
We have to do it over again because something fell out of it.
Was that the Atlantis thing or what?
Was it when?
Was that the Atlantean thing or?
Yeah, that's one of them. And there was a Lemurian thing, and Lemurian became first, and that resulted in a matriarchal society, which was the shoe on the other foot of a patriarchal society that happened in Atlantis that we're in now. And so we've tried it both ways. They both suck. We don't want to do that. we want a world where all people are empowered by their inner holiness, and everyone gets to have the ascension process. It's not about a person, one person. It's about everybody this time. And I don't know that that's ever been tried. It's been done, just like Jesus. Well, if just one person's a Christed being, you're probably going to get nailed to a cross or something. But if every single person has a Christ being within them that's been dormant since the downfall, and once we become in our holy order again, it activates, and everyone has a Christ of knowing being, well, that's a whole different thing. So there's strength in numbers. And if we're all doing this, that's the beautiful thing. And we not only have a Christ of knowing being that activates as you start connecting to your inner divinity, we also have a cosmic being that activates as the sacred paths to the Christ matrix grid are filled out. And our cosmic being, its purpose is to refurbish and activate these 9 knowing centers of our brain. They've been dormant for a long time, and they've got dust bunnies and cobwebs. They have to be refurbished, and our cosmic being has these ring connectors that it utilizes to work on these various aspects of our being so that we can once again have cosmic consciousness, which is the headwaters of our androgyne function. And so we've made it up to cosmic consciousness, so we've gone further than previously had been attained. And it looks like things are just going to be wonderful this time. The wonderful thing of our protection from that which would oppose us is that things beyond your consciousness are invisible to you. They go right over your head. And so that's a good thing to stay incognito and to keep working and unfolding the divine process. So we're really doing it this time, and I'm very pleased with all of that. And then in 2024, a very major happening will occur, and I think that's when the Holy Old Earth totally kicks into full gear, and it's the only thing that's left here.
All right, you have to read from 2024, only because it's getting noisy.
Yeah,
2024. We're going to shut it.
Yeah. Yeah, 2024 is when a real big part of the ascension of the Holy Old Earth, with no human downfall world left, will be here anymore. And that'll be the way it is. And government, religion, the financial system, these institutions will be raised up to the 6th paradigm. And then there'll come a time, you see, there is a ladder that's being extended down into the paradigms to assist people to ascend that goes from the 14th paradigm to the 6th. there'll come a time that that ladder will be taken off and the new holy old earth will start at the 15th paradigm of cosmic consciousness. And when that happens, everybody will be in knowing consciousness. And see, when people know, they embrace responsibility. When they believe, they run from it. And when people know and embrace responsibility, there will no longer be a need for government. And that'll be out the window. And so we'll get rid of these structures of rigidity and imprisonment that it kind of needed to be necessary in a world of believers where nobody wanted to be responsible. So that, but change is always difficult on the cutting edge, and when you have to break the habitual patterns of the way you've thought for a long time, just like in the human realm, when you got to believe consciousness, you're always taking in information from books or listening to people like me or somebody else, and it does this thing to your brain and you have thought about it. Well, when these 9 knowing centers of your brain start functioning, that will no longer be the way that you receive information. These centers of our brain will be of original thought, and they are seated by the holy temples of the neutron stars that actually created our first step of creation as a holographic seed that migrated into the neutral zone and metamorphosed into 9 pulses of creation that were destined to be these 9 knowing centers of our brain. So the origin of our creation will be that which seeds our original divine thought that will be coming into our 9 knowing centers of our brain. And that knowing will be blended with love, that is the force through which our inner divinity acts. And when you combine divine knowing with divine love, you manifest that which glorifies your holy order and benefits all people and makes loving feelings into life. And that is the first 2 components of cosmic consciousness. The next 2 components are enlightenment and actualization. And enlightenment is about having a mindfulness and a conscious understanding of how you are an integrated part of the 9 clusters of the all that is of the Holy O, and understand your role to play and how to function as a divine being. That's what enlightenment is. And then the actualization is about being able to manifest into this world the divinity of our own inner holiness. And so it's a very empowering process for the individual to climb the ascension ladder. And all of the crystal lattice and the components of the ascension ladder have already been given out in these group healings, so that all of humanity is now stewing in these components. And it's quite amazing to me when I do private sessions on people that they have these things, and I didn't have to give them. I didn't have to work on them for them to get it. They just got it because they're tuned in and they're getting this stuff, and so it's really beautiful that it's actually happening. The unfoldment of the divine is in our midst, and anyone can participate in this that will choose to live the parable of being a Christed being. You have to make that choice. And if you choose to try to figure it out and do it yourself, you'll take a butt kicking as long as it's necessary before you figure out hot potato and let go of that and try this other way. That's very loving and kind. You get all the chances you need to get it right. And so it's really a wonderful thing. So we have a dog audience out here today.
We do.
And they're getting cranked up.
From Sirius.
So, yes, you got a question?
Did you ever get your hair pull-in upgrade finished? When you met Victory, you hired for
days and days and days? You said there were going to be many opportunities to pull your brain out. I just didn't-
No, I didn't quite understand that question.
It was- when you were here a while ago, it was you were on some clearing or some mountain, and they started working on rewiring, I guess, your 9 knowing centers, and you talked about it like braids and pulling your hair out of your head. I swear.
that was a cosmic being.
Okay.
Yeah, the cosmic being, its purpose is to refurbish and activate these 9 knowing centers of the brain. And I've had several treatments by my cosmic being, and you've got one too, and I recognize mine by a light signature. And you know, interesting, everybody's Christ of knowing particle that activates has a common name of victory. This Christ of knowing being named victory is our victory over our human downfall world. The cosmic being's name is personalized with each individual. Mine, his name is coral, like a coral reef. And this cosmic being, I have a wonderful place that I walk and meditate when I'm in Arkansas. And I'm standing on one hill, a big slab of granite, and I'm looking down the river valley at Pinnacle Mountain, which looks just like a pyramid with a flat top. And so I'm looking at this. I do my little meditation process with my eyes closed, and I see the light signature come out of the top of the mountain, and it's followed by a tornadic device that comes out. But this tornado, it leans over and lets me look down it, and there is it looks like a cross section of an old tree. And this particular first time it happened, there were 57 band rings. And this is a 57 dimension ring connector. Well, one of the sacred geometry expressions of our wholeness is a 57th dimensional being, with our crown being the 57th. Well, that device came across the river valley and connected to my crown chakra and started to work on the dormant part of my brain. And it actually hurt for like 5 seconds. It felt like I had tangles and snarls in my brain, like it get in our hair. And that was not pleasant, but it didn't last very long. And so I took that treatment. I walked around about a quarter of a mile, and I have a meditation tree. Its name is Docile. And I lean up to the back of Docile, and I put my heels up against it and my palms on it. And immediately that same 57 ring connector started going through my heart, and my crown was wide open, and there was a channel that was created between that, and it caused the knowing and the love to be blended to bring forth enlightenment and actualization. And those are the 4 components of cosmic consciousness. And see, this is the beginning headwaters of our androgyne function that completes once we fill out the next level of consciousness called goddess conscience. And our androgyne function, just to give you something to look forward to, has got 276 activities of higher consciousness that it performs on an inner web that connects the crystal lattice of our spirit body to the holy temples of the neutron stars. And we get to do these activities of telepathy, teleporting, shape-shifting, remote viewing. All of these aspects of higher consciousness is our natural state of being. We all have had a 200 or a 700 million year life existence, a continuum, in this state of being as a holy being of the Holy O with a knowing consciousness. And when the 21 bodies of our soul, spirit, and presence are integrated with knowing consciousness, we have eternal life. It is belief consciousness that is the reason that we grow old, get sick, and die. And so I'm looking real forward to that, and you can get some rejuvenation now as you go into knowing consciousness, and the beauty of it is you get to reevaluate things, and all of a sudden you'll change course on things that you've been doing that are detrimental to you, and that's a beautiful thing. To be able to do that. And it's in cosmic consciousness that you have the realization that any time in life your shit happens, that it's actually the purging of your shadow. And you have to learn to respond to that, not as a blame victim thing and I'm psychic picking up somebody else's stuff. That's all rationalizations of the ego. It's actually the purging of your shadow, and if you will respond to that with the appropriate form of compassion and forgiveness, you will plant a new seed into that space, and you will never see that type of an event in your life again, and you will weed your flower bed as you go through your life experience. And it doesn't take long that your shadow is no more. And so that's a beautiful thing. But if you have negative reaction to your purging shadow, you plant the seed of reoccurrence. And you never get out of it until you demonstrate victory over your human condition by making that appropriate application. And people don't realize this. I didn't realize this. The purpose of forgiveness is not that somehow miraculously you're going to change the past. It's not going to happen. But what will happen and what you will discover is that unforgiveness edits the goodness out of your future. And that's the reason we have to learn to forgive all things that were of negative influence in our life, is so that the unforgiveness doesn't edit goodness out of our future. And so that's a very beautiful thing. And having compassion in the place of judgment, the same experience that happens if you're in belief that provokes judgment from you, and knowing will provoke compassion. And that's on that feelings chart that Gracia brought. And so it's just really amazing when we go out of belief, we leave the negative expressions of fear out of our life, and we bring in the knowing of our inner holiness, and compassion and love and all of those expressions of life that are on that feelings chart consume the negativity of our fears and worries and all of that stuff. Okay, any other questions? Yes.
So the being that for you is called coral, what being is that?
Cosmic.
Cosmic being?
Yep, the cosmic being.
And you said that we have a personalized one.
Yes.
Yeah. Have you been seeing people coming into contact with theirs, like it showing up and presenting its name, or
No, I have not, and I've only done this myself recently. Since I got back from my last trip before I came on this trip. So this is all new.
Okay.
Yeah, it's all new, and as soon as it comes in, I like to give it away.
Yes.
Because it's about everybody doing this on a empowerment of the individual level. It's not. That's why this is not a cult. This is not about empowering me or something. This is about empowering all people that will live the parable of being a Christed being, and so that's the beauty of it. But all right. So, where are we at here, Cosina? I guess it's time that we can. I want to kind of go over these for you today a little bit.
We have one new person. I don't know if she did look up some of your information. Vicky. We have one. I don't know that I think everybody else has participated.
We have two new people back here.
Oh, new people.
New people.
So I don't know whether you need to
Yeah, we'll let them come
share
in before we
share some
start.
of your why you're doing this, or
Yeah, we'll just kind of wait till they come in.
I think that's Marilyn.
That is Marilyn.
She painted her car.
She what?
She painted her car.
Oh, nice. Magenta. I think I'm gonna have to come out of this shirt.
Yeah, it's toasty, little toasty.
It is toasty.
Who are the people that is this is their first time?
Mike and Shirley.
And you're like,
Mike and Shirley, glad y'all could come be with
And
us.
Vicki over here. And you're from where? Is you from Jemez or
Yeah, now.
now? Oh, welcome.
Yeah.
We have another chair.
There was a chair over
There
there
is one over there.
by Rita. Is there a chair over there by you?
There's one here.
Great. Hello, Marilyn. We're glad you made it.
what a beautiful group.
Yeah.
All right. She brought pie or something. Great. That'll get you in the door.
There's the chair over there. With the end. Could everybody just, yeah, maybe.
One here, and sit out there.
Oh, okay. Maybe the list is
Let me go there.
I wonder if we turn that fan on, if it would be too much, or if this right here is making it happen. Seems like it's getting hot in here for everybody. Are you? The people around that stove are starting to feel like a marshmallow at a roast.
That's what that stool is for.
really, just so low.
Now stand on that stool, Gracia.
It's got too many knobs.
No, it's the plug-in.
I think you just.
It's a plug-in, just plug it in.
Different story.
Thank you, Gracia.
I'm David.
Yep.
Nice to meet you, man.
Okay.
That did it.
It might be a lower setting.
Is there? That's
That's good.
drown out the dogs.
That helps with that. Okay.
Paul, do you want us to tie a string around the doorknob so you can sit down?
If I can use it like a rudder. If I start to feel really hard, I can close it a little bit.
That won't work when I start the circle though.
Oh, okay.
Plug into somebody.
All right. Is there somebody else coming in, or? Yeah, okay. All right. Well, today in our group healing, we have 3 earth equivalences that we're going to be working on. And you know, our trip this time to New Mexico is, normally these group healings are about giving this stuff away to humanity, but this trip is about bringing the earth into the ascension process. And there are actually 7 earth equivalences. We've made it down to the final 3. And I need to get my little sheet out. And today, our 3 earth equivalences, the first one is the Earth's stars and the Earth's magma. There is a big relationship between the two. There'll be 2 clearings and 2 ascension keys done for that earth equivalence. And then there is the Earth's divine destiny and the Earth's sacred attunement. There'll also be 2 clearings and 2 ascension keys for that. And then finally, the earth family and earth sustainability. And all of that will be brought into harmony by doing 2 clearings, and we'll fill the voids of our clearings with ascension keys that will always heal what we clear. It'll fill the voids completely and perfectly, and it will interface blessings of higher consciousness in order to bring this back into holy, pure perfection. So that's what we're going to be doing. And we're going to get Cosima up here on the table so that we can be connected. As you see, this room is full, and there are lots of cosmic beings throughout the 9 clusters of the All That Is of the Holy O that are participating in our process here today. And there's also 6 billion Earths different from this that are participating. So we have an amazing amount of participation on the cosmic level in order to bring the Earth into the ascension that all of us are in. And so that's really a glorious thing, because we got to have the Earth. It is our mother, and it's what makes our life here possible. So we want to have a good Earth. So we're going to get to work on that today. And I want to tell you before we get started that each person in this room has sacred gifts that will be utilized in each and every blessing we do. And then there'll be a few that'll be chosen to come up on the table. Whether that's you or not, it doesn't matter. Your gifts are going to be utilized each and every time. So, and it's always the inner holiness of the person that is finished with their contribution, fixing to get off the table, that chooses the next person that comes up. So that's kind of the way that works. So what we're going to do now is get Cosima, our hostess, here up on the table, and we have to get connected into a crystal of the Holy O in order to do this sacred work. In order to do that, we all have to be touching one another. And yeah, that works.
Okay.
Yeah, just as long as everybody's touching, it's going to work just beautifully. That'd be okay. How you turn the lights off? How you turn the lights off?
You can tell me because you know, do.
Bo, do you know if this is the only setting on the
No, there's
fan?
about 5 settings.
Is that the highest one?
Switches.
Let me find out.
Yeah, because it's really, I can hardly see
It sounds like it's on high.
Whoops, that took the fan out.
it. That's
Let's
just the
fix
way
that
it is.
anyway.
Okay. It was too noisy. We thought it was too noisy.
Yeah, they keep
Okay,
saying-
well let's just blow the fan off and
How
Okay.
about the one behind you? It's so air's moving.
This thing is starting to cool
it
off.
won't work
It's
either
burning
with the
way down.
electricity turned off.
Yeah, she took
It's
out
not
the
near as hot as it used to be.
We need an ascension fan.
Right? Everybody blow higher dimensional powered, yeah. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, purification sauna.
Okay. This is for all the people in this room and all of our helpers throughout the 9 clusters of the All That Is of the Holy O. Together, all of us are the group of the Holy O. And this blessing is to merge this group of the Holy O into our cosmic attunement for divine timing, divine order, divine joy, divine happiness, divine peace, divine love, divine inspiration, divine creativity, divine imagination, divine guidance and divine protection, divine health and divine wellness, perfect calibration of our angelic host, divine perfection, divine fulfillment, and divine prosperity in every way, abundance of source, material, wealth, and substance, and an inexhaustible supply of Christ consciousness along our way. May all aspects of our crystal lattice of light, electromagnetic field, all the dimensions of all the bodies of our being, every cell, tissue, organ, system, structure, function, morphology, and physiology, and all the activities of our life and every aspect of who and what we are, to be permanently and continuously illuminated with positive emotional spiritual energy that originates from and illuminates from the living holiness that beats our hearts. O connecting. The feeling of gracious. The feeling of gracious. 1313 to power 1313 to power 57 avenues of the feeling of gracious. The feeling of gracious consumes all feelings and expressions of rejecting. And the element of knowing, the knowing of our inner holiness consumes all belief of our ego and creates the feelings of gracious that consumes all feelings of rejection. And 101 rays of O-light, the light ray of the 6th, 7th, 8th, 9th, 10th, 11th, 12th, 13th, 14th, 15th, 69, 177, 999, 8 to the power of 5 to the power of 7, 9 to the power of 7, 15 to the power of 7, 69 to the power of 7, 177 to the power of 7, 999 to the power of 7, that allows us to live in the now, illuminates our being with inspiration that consumes all forms of depression, virtuousness that consumes every grudge, exact that consumes all suspicion, perfection that consumes ridicule, devotion that consumes powerlessness, compatibility that consumes hateful, happiness that consumes repulsive, and holio sex that consumes demanding. 1313 to power 1313 to power 57 avenues of 101 rays of O-light. From 1313 to power 1313 to power 57 avenues of the feeling of gracious, the element of knowing, and 101 rays of O-light, these 70 expressions of the love of our inner holiness, anoints, baptizes, and uplifts all of us into the Holio crystal of the Holio. Creative, sensitive, inspired, imaginative, faith, love, joy, peace, serenity, compassion, hopeful, enthusiastic, contented, accepting, expectancy, sincerity, harmony, compatibility, consistency, faithfulness, pleasurable bliss, elation, enjoyment, fulfillment, gracious, loyal, true, dedicated, steadfast, agreeable, glad, gratified, satisfied, pleased, unwavering, firm, conscientious, stable, and careful, jovial, adored, devotion, birth, warmth, reliable, trust, good, dependable, honest, cherish, intimacy, friendship, passion, benevolent, truthful, moral, virtuous, accurate, exact, tranquility, quietness, calm, composure, desire, delight, right, perfection, sex and happiness, process aberrations, surrender, forgiveness, anything else, remove the covers, other things, into our eye of goddess of creation, into our Helios crystal of creation, into our rainbow gold and emerald violet crystal light of creation, into our Merkaba of creation, into our tree of life of creation, into our O Alpha, O Iota, Omega, O Iota, Omega, O Alpha, Omega, O Alpha, O Iota, into our God being of one of light, into our goddess being of O of sound, into our holy being of union of light and sound, O in one, God and goddess, into the rainbow bridge of love, into the holy divine water of the soul, into our holy divine pendant, into holy earth surgery, into holy divine healing, into servants of the holy Oniverse, into the sacred tones of Logos, Om, and I love you, into the love particle of our hearts, into our pineal gland, into our pituitary gland, into our Ra Merkaba, into our Ra eye of goddess, into our Ra eye of holy being, into our Melchizedek, into our Divine Mother, the holographic grid of 999 to the power of 7, into our perfected earth being, into the perfectionator Merkaba holy Oniverse, 22 coordinated groups of Oniverse of creation, through the authority and the orchestration of the living goddess that beats our hearts. This perfected fractal code of the Holy O goes into the hall of records of our being, attracting all things like it as it establishes its dominion in its perfection in our life expression in this world. O connecting amen and hallelujah. And it is done. Thank you, Cosima. And Miss you, you're up next. And
As long as I can
You want me to sit there?
yeah, yeah. And whenever you get off the table, take the place of the person coming up. It makes it a lot easier.
They like this.
Okay. Just think of it as a dog choir. Yeah.
Man's best friend.
Yeah, y'all kind of got situated now
Here we
to
go.
make this work?
Yep.
Okay.
All right.
Okay, first up is the earth equivalence of the earth family and the earth sustainability. O iota, omega, O alpha, omega, O alpha, O iota, O alpha, O iota, omega. And the door opens. Want to clear 4 mutating models from the life stream of the earth of 97, 677, 33, and 11. 6 carry-ons, 6 other things, 8 courtings, 6 quadrillion and 8 resisting invaders. Pull all of this out of the unconscious of the earth's shadow and all of its discord of belief. Pull all of this out of the collective spirit body of the fractured Trinity and all of its discord of belief out of the unconscious of the shadow of the earth from 786,369 BC. Remove all contraptions, issues, all aspects of the downfall world, and the 4 mutating models of the earth stream of 97, 677, 33, and 11. 6 carry-ons, 6 other things, 8 courtings, 6 quadrillion, and 8 resisting invaders. Pull all of this out of the collective spirit body of the fractured Trinity of the earth and all of its discord of belief out of its unconscious. And then bring forth all aspects of the collective spirit body of the holy earth, of its Trinity of wholeness and all of its relationships through goddess knowing into the unconscious of the holy order of O, of its androgyne being, into the earth's divinity, into the holy order of O of the earth, through holy O pure perfection 3 times and make it true. How many platforms to be cleared? 6 quadrillion and 8 platforms. Deposit all of it into the Holy O moon portal for disposal, clearing, and cleansing. To Holy O pure perfection. To Holy O pure perfection. To Holy O pure perfection. And it is done. And that was perfect. Very good, Miss Yu. And Bo, you're up next. And now that we've pulled a lot of stuff out of the earth, we have to fill that void, and this is our first ascension key. This is the first ascension key. The feeling of passion consumes all feelings and expressions of abused. The 999th paradigm of the reality of consciousness of absolute knowing. The clear octave sandstone crystal light. And the 9th cluster of the 9 cluster all that is of the Holy O. Now fill the void created from this clearing in order to heal all things cleared, to fill the void perfectly and completely, and to interface all blessings of higher consciousness required to bring forth Holy O pure perfection 3 times into the life of this earth. And it is done. Thank you, Bo. And Marjorie, you're up next.
All right, we're on a roll.
That's good. That's good. O Alpha, Omega, O Iota, Omega, O Iota, O Alpha, O Iota, O Alpha, Omega. Want to clear 4 mutating models from the earth, from the life stream of the earth of 51, 667, 957, and 22. 4 carry-on, 6 other things, 9 quartings, 6 quadrillion and 8 resisting invaders. Pull all of this out of the collective mass conscience of the earth, and all of its discord of belief out of the androgyne of the earth from 886,787 years from now. Remove all contraptions, issues, collateral issues, all debris of the downfall world, all manifestations of all creations, of 4 mutating models of the earth's life stream of 51, 667, 957, and 22. 4 carry-ons, 6 other things, 9 quartings, 6 quadrillion, and 8 resisting invaders. Pull all of this out of the collective mass conscience of the earth, and all of its discord of belief out of the androgyne of the earth, and make it true for this earth. And then bring forth all aspects of the collective mass conscience of the holy order of O of this earth, and all of its relationships through goddess knowing with the androgyne of the earth, of the Trinity of wholeness, into the divinity of this earth through the Holy O pure perfection of this earth 3 times, and make it true. How many platforms to be cleared? 6 quadrillion and 8 platforms. Deposit all of it into the Holy O moon portal for disposal, clearing, and cleansing. To Holy O pure perfection, to Holy O pure perfection, to Holy O pure perfection, and it is done. Very good. And Paul is our next one. Would you like your cushion back, Marjorie? We can do the cushion back.
Oh, that's okay.
You're okay?
Thank you.
Okay. The eighth key, the feeling of dedicated, consumes all feelings and expressions of immoral. The 94th paradigm of the reality of consciousness, of forgiveness, the clear octave, clear crystal light, and the neutron star of the earth family and earth sustainability now fill the void created from our clearing in order to heal all things cleared, to fill this void perfectly and completely, and to interface all blessings of higher consciousness required to bring forth Holy-O pure perfection 3 times into the life of this earth, and it is done. Thank you, Paul. And Cass, you're up next. Okay, our next earth equivalents to be brought into the holy order of the new Holy-O earth is the earth's divine destiny and the earth's sacred attunement. Omega, O Alpha, O Iota, O Alpha, O Iota, Omega, O Iota, Omega, O Alpha. Want to clear 4 mutating models from the life stream of the earth of 78, 55, 877, and 33. 4 carry-ons, 8 other things, 8 courtings, 8 trillion, quadrillion, and 6 resisting invaders. Pull all of this out of the collective spirit body matrix of the fractured trinity of the earth and all of its discord of belief out of the flesh body matrix of the fractured soul of the earth. From OAD, remove all contraptions, issues, collateral issues, all debris of the downfall world, all manifestations of all creations, of 4 mutating models of the earth's life stream of 78, 55, 877, and 33. 4 carry-ons, 8 other things, 8 courtings, 8 trillion, quadrillion, and 6 resisting invaders. Pull all of this out of the collective spirit body matrix of the fractured trinity of the earth and all of its discord of belief out of the flesh body of the earth of its fractured soul, and then bring forth all aspects of the collective spirit body matrix of the trinity of wholeness of the earth and all of its relationships through Goddess knowing with the flesh body matrix of the holy soul of the earth into the divinity of the earth, into the holy order of O of this earth through Holy-O pure perfection 3 times and make it true. How many platforms to be cleared? 6 quadrillion and 9 platforms. Deposit all of it into the Holy-O moon portal for disposal, clearing, and cleansing to Holy-O pure perfection, to Holy-O pure perfection, to Holy-O pure perfection, and it is done. Thank you very much, Cass. And Nathan, you're up next. Okay, and we're to do the 8th ascension key again. The feeling of dedicated consumes all feelings and expressions of immoral. The 94th paradigm of the reality of consciousness of forgiveness, the clear octave clear crystal light, and the neutron star of the origin of the earth now fill the void created from our clearing in order to heal all things cleared, to fill our void perfectly and completely, and to interface all blessings of higher consciousness required to bring forth holy pure perfection 3 times into this earth. And it is done. Thank you very much, Nathan. And Shelley, you're up next. O iota, O alpha, omega, O alpha, omega, O iota, omega, O iota, O alpha. Want to clear 4 mutating models of the Earth's life stream of 678, 69, 33, and 11. 6 carry-ons, 4 other things, 2 chordings, 8 trillion, quadrillion, and 6 resisting invaders. Pull all of this out of the 9-pulse creation matrix of the fractured presence of this earth, and all of its discord of belief out of the crystal lattice matrix of the fractured spirit of this earth. From OAD, remove all contraptions, issues, collateral issues, all debris of the downfall world, all manifestations of all creations, of 4 mutating models of the Earth's life stream of 678, 69, 33, and 11, 6 carry-ons, 4 other things, 2 chordings, 8 trillion, quadrillion, and 6 resisting invaders. Pull all of this out of the 9 pulses of creation matrix of the fractured presence of the earth and all of its discord of belief out of the crystal lattice matrix of the earth, and make it true for this earth. And then bring forth all aspects of the 9 pulses of creation matrix of divine presence of the androgyne function of this earth and all of its relationships through goddess knowing with the crystal lattice matrix of the Holy Spirit of the divine feminine of this earth into the earth's divinity, into the holy order of O of the earth through holy O pure perfection 3 times, and make it true. How many platforms to be cleared? 6 quadrillion and 9 platforms. Deposit all of it into the Holy O moon portal for disposal, clearing, and cleansing. To Holy O pure perfection. To Holy O pure perfection. To Holy O pure perfection. And it is done. And Ed, you're next. Let this relax. There you go. And the 14th ascension key, the feeling of benevolence, consumes all feelings and expressions of submissive. The 8th paradigm of the reality of consciousness of unconditional love to others. The clear golden crystal light and the constellation of Orion now fill the void created from our clearing in order to heal all things cleared, to fill the void perfectly and completely, and to interface all blessings of higher consciousness required to bring forth holy pure perfection 3 times into this earth, and it is done. Thank you very much, Ed and Geraldine. You're up next. And our last earth equivalence is the earth stars and the earth magma. Come this way. There you go. Perfect. O alpha, omega, o iota, omega, o iota, o alpha, o iota, o alpha, omega. Want to clear 4 mutating models from the earth stream, from the life stream of the earth of 77, 57, 33, and 1. 6 carry-ons, 8 other things, 9 courtings, 8 trillion, quadrillion, and 6 resisting invaders. Pull all of this out of the unconscious matrix of the shadow of the earth and all of its discord of belief out of the emotional body matrix of the fractured trinity of the earth. From OAD, remove all contraptions, issues, collateral issues, all debris of the downfall world, all manifestations of all creations, of 4 mutating models of the life stream of the earth of 77, 57, 33, and 1, 6 carry-ons, 8 other things, 9 courtings, and 8 trillion, quadrillion, and 6 resisting invaders. Pull all of this out of the unconscious matrix of the earth and all of its discord of belief out of the emotional body matrix of the earth and make it true for this earth, and then bring forth all expressions of the unconscious matrix of the holy order of O, of the androgyne being, and all of its relationships through goddess knowing into the emotional body matrix of the earth of its trinity of wholeness, into the earth's divinity, into the holy order of O of the earth, through holy O pure perfection 3 times, and make it true. How many platforms to be cleared? 6 quadrillion and 8 platforms. Deposit all of it into the Holy O moon portal for disposal, clearing, and cleansing. To Holy O pure perfection. To Holy O pure perfection. To Holy O pure perfection. And it is done. Thank you very much, Geraldine. And David, right back here. Yes. Hey David, come back up here, my friend. The 9th ascension key, the feeling of exact, consumes all feelings and expressions of suspicion. The 66th paradigm of the reality of consciousness of ascension, the clear octave, clear crystal light, the light of Divine Mother and the axis of Orion now fill the void created from our clearing in order to heal all things cleared, to fill this void perfectly and completely, and to interface all blessings of higher consciousness required to bring forth Holy O pure perfection 3 times into the earth, And it is done. Thank you very much, David. Many blessings. And Sabine? I know it had to be hot over there. There you go. Want to clear 4 mutating models from the life stream of the earth, the 77, 22, 7, and 33, 5 carry-ons, 7 other things, 8 courtings, 8 trillion, quadrillion, and 6 resisting invaders. Pull all of this out of the 9 underworlds of the earth matrix, and all of its discord of belief out of the 9 pulses of creation matrix of its fractured presence. From OAD, remove all contraptions, issues, collateral issues, all debris of the downfall world, all manifestations of all creations, of 4 mutating models of the Earth's life stream of 77, 22, 7, and 33, 5 carry-ons, 7 other things, 8 courtings, 8 trillion, quadrillion, and 6 resisting invaders. Pull all of this out of the 9 underworlds matrix of this earth, and all of its discord of belief out of the 9 pulses of creation matrix, and make it true for the earth. And then bring forth all aspects of the 9 underworlds matrix of this earth, of its trinity of wholeness, and all of its relationships through Goddess knowing with the 9 pulses of creation matrix of its divine presence, of its androgyne being, into the divinity of this earth, into the holy order of O of the earth, through holy O pure perfection 3 times, and make it true. How many platforms to be cleared? 6 quadrillion and 9 platforms. Deposit all of it into the Holy O Moon portal for disposal, clearing, and cleansing, to Holy O pure perfection, to Holy O pure perfection, to Holy O pure perfection, and it is done. Thank you very much, Sabine. And the gentleman that's new this time. Michael. Okay. Come right up, Michael. And just let your feet extend just a little bit beyond the end down here. There you go. Perfect. Just let your feet and legs totally relax. There you go. Put a little bit of distance between them. That's perfect. All right. The 13th key. The feeling of bliss consumes all feelings and expressions of self-pity. The old paradigm of the creation of the holy being of this holy world, of this earth, which has a knowing consciousness, understands all of life, has returned to innocence, is connected to its inner divinity, is connected to the Christ matrix grid, and is connected to cosmic consciousness, and the clear purple crystal light, and the constellation of Pleiades. Now fill the void created from this clearing, in order to heal all things cleared, to fill this void perfectly and completely, and to interface all blessings of higher consciousness required, to bring forth Holy O pure perfection 3 times into the life of the earth, and all 6 billion plus earths of the 9 cluster all that is of the Holy O. And it is done. Thank you very much, Michael. Very much. And Carol?
Yeah.
Okay, that last Ascension key completed our service today, and we get an A+. It was beautiful and perfect. And now your gift for coming today, we're going to take you through the origins of creation as inscripted in the crystal lattice of our Holy Spirit. You won't find this anywhere else. But every person on this earth and the earth is a divine thought of a council of divine beings from the holy old temples of the neutron stars. And as our divine thought was thought, our holographic seed was created. And our holographic seed was created before the neutral zone, and then migrates into the neutral zone and metamorphoses into 9 pulses of creation that are destined to become the 9 knowing centers of our brain, and to always be in perfect calibration and synchronicity with the 9 clusters of the all that is of the Holy O. And then at the dawn of creation, our 9 pulses of creation create the crystal lattice electromagnetic field of our Holy Spirit. And then at our conception in this life, the 9 pulses of our creation and the crystal lattice of our Holy Spirit create our soul body as Holy O same, with a perfect soul vessel and an ego body at peace, with originally 13 components of divinity, which were the gifts of creation from the 13 galaxies of this cosmos, are spun into a Celtic loop and reconnected to the 13 galaxies of this cosmos that are interconnected to the 763 cosmos of this omniverse, which is interconnected into the 62 million plus omniverses of the 9 cluster all that is of the Holy O, which interconnects into the 9 underworlds of this earth, 3 of Lemuria, 3 of Atlantis, 3 of Hyperborea, and create our 7 levels of consciousness of our unconscious, subconscious, conscience, mass conscience, Christ conscience, cosmic conscience, goddess conscience, into our androgyne functions, with our 276 activities of higher consciousness performed on our inner web that connects the crystal lattice of our spirit body to the holy old temples of the neutron stars, where we harvest our gold as knowing and our knowing as gold as we return back home. Oh, connecting, amen, and hallelujah. And we are there. All right. Beautiful. Okay, Carol. Yeah, you can come up, man. Yeah. All right. And now's the fun time. If you would like to share your experience that we had here this afternoon from this session, everybody in the room would love to hear. Anybody like to share? You got one, Cosima?
Well, I thought I was going to say all these words when we started, and my ears started buzzing out, and I couldn't hardly even open my mouth. So I guess we really needed to get this work done. And I am so grateful for everyone coming to participate. And I know that being this far out and this windy day, I just really appreciate your commitment. Love you all.
Thank
you.
Thank you for being
Our hostess.
our cosmic host. Yes.
Very good, Cosima. Well spoken.
I have a question.
Yes, a question?
Hyperborea, did that exist before Lemuria and before Atlantis? And what was their deal if it wasn't female or?
It was androgynous.
So really-
Hyperborea was an androgynous civilization preceding the. I'm not even real sure that we were in a physical form yet, but we were in an androgynous form. And Hyperborea was a huge continent. It had a river that went all the way around the world, and some of its remnants now are up in the Arctic Ocean area, Siberia, and also Mount Meru, which has the largest pyramid on the planet that's in the ice sheath at the South Pole, was also a part of Hyperborea. Okay, you're welcome. Anyone else want to comment on your experience today, or ask a question? Either one is fine. Yes, Connie.
My question is about Lemuria.
Okay.
You talked about Lemuria a bit, and I have some remembrance of Lemuria as being a very like non-physical, like a very maybe not crystalline form, but a light body. And I wondered what your thoughts are about that.
Well, that was the first stages of Lemuria when, it kind of succeeded Hyperborea, and initially it was not a form, but it became a form, and it was a beautiful civilization until it had its fracturing, and it became a matriarchal society, and just as out of balance as the patriarchal one is that we have today. So it taught us to understand that doesn't work. It causes a lot of conflict and problems, and somebody's always getting the short end of the stick. And the weirdest thing about that stuff to me is no one seems to understand that your soul is masculine and your spirit is feminine. And every single walking person has both. So why would you want a dominance because of your gender? It only hurts that other opposite sex that you are, that's a component of your trinity. So that makes no sense to seek the long end of the stick at someone else's expense, because that expense is actually of your own. So it's just bizarre. Yes.
So I'll follow in what I saw about halfway through. Couldn't figure it out. At first it looked like a white candle with a gold flame, and then it had wings, and it turned into two swans facing each other with that perfect heart, and the wings, and it just kept getting bigger and bigger and bigger as each person went and filled the whole room. And I just kept hearing that there was something about balance, that it was completely merged, and how swans are monogamous, they're together for life, and so there's something in there.
Wow, that's awesome. It sounded very androgynous. Yeah, that's
Well, it's
awesome.
also interesting that the ugly duckling became a swan, so the messiness that we're going through now is hopefully will turn into a swan.
That's a good thought. I'll take that. Okay. Okay.
I have a question, because when I was on the table, I really felt the presence of the crystal beings, and the color is slightly greenish, and I really felt their presence today, and I wanted to know more about them, because I don't know anything about the crystal beings who work with you.
Well, you're referring to the crystal light beings that were present in my original experience, and I tell you that experience, what it really means, and every single person has this. The tunnel that I was traveling through was my spinal column, and I started in the sacrum, where the earth is at. And as I went up the column, other tunnels came into mine. There were 6 of them, representing the 6 chakras above the pelvis. And after the 6th tunnel came in, I was in my crown. And it's in your crown that you get to actually witness the components of divinity that were the gifts of creation from the galaxies of this cosmos that were originally placed into our soul vessel to give our soul body knowing. So these were the components of divinity that came outside of us and were spectrumized on the totem pole of the God particle, the Elohim, Archangel, Angel, Ascended Master, Earth Goddess, right on down. That's who these beings actually were. And every single person has this. And I got anointed in light by my 13, and it's led me to this place today. And every single person on this planet has the same thing. Yeah. But you know, when something's broken, to make it whole again, it has to be made a part of a bigger model. And that bigger model is 15. And there were actually 2 additional galaxies added to this cosmos to encompass 2 more gifts of divinity added into our divine components of our soul body. Our Holio Same and our androgyne being are now components of our soul body. And we have 15 now instead of the original 13. But all people have this. So that's who the crystal light beings were. So maybe you saw your own.
I saw it a little bit, but when I was on the table, I knew it was them. I just didn't see them the way I usually see them. But it was a tunnel, like vertical, right?
Yeah.
So that's, yeah. I wanted you to speak about it because I never asked you any questions.
Okay. All right. Okay, well that's my story. Okay, thank you, Sabine. Okay, any other comments?
Well, I asked you, I think, about when you work on people and you kind of get your butt kicked, some kind of energy comes off. I think you said that has to do with the shadow that you have within yourself.
Okay.
And
Oh.
you want to explain that some more?
You are correct.
Now, you're referring to the energy expenditure of a light worker to do their service for other people?
Yeah, let's go there.
Yeah, let's go there.
Yeah, there's that, and you know, each caregiver has their limits, and you should never exceed that limit, because it definitely will overwhelm you, you know, and but you have to be very good to yourself to be a long-term caregiver to other people, and you have to actually meet your needs on the front end of the day to get yourself in harmony and balance, and then you can go help others and have fun doing it. But if you don't meet your needs first, it'll take you to a bad place, and you won't be nurtured the way that you have to be nurtured. And as your consciousness expands and your gifts upgrade, it has a way of not only an expenditure of energy from you, but also a nurturing from the cosmic gift that you have. So it gives back also.
But the reason that you got such a shift is because I felt something so strongly is because you still have some part of that shadow within yourself.
Oh yeah, that's kind of a requirement to be here on the earth working with this. Yeah, you don't get out of your human condition because you got a gift. In fact, you'll be the first one purged. Yeah, and you have to accept that. And you have to, no matter where you're from, if you got an earth kit, you got an ego to contend with, because it's your flesh body that is your soul. And all souls come complete with an ego, an inner child, and an adult body. And all light workers have to work on themselves as they work on others, and all heal simultaneously. Yeah, that's true. And so purging your shadow is about as much fun as throwing up, but it's a necessary part of transformation, and we got 2 more years of it left. But you can do it with dignity and grace. The main thing is that you learn to quit blaming it on things outside of you and having a negative reaction to it, and to respond to the purging of your shadow with the appropriate form of forgiveness and compassion. That's what plants the new seed that transforms your weed-ridden garden into a beautiful, lush garden. And you get to weed your garden as you go through your life, and you have less and less purging to do if you take that approach to it. And quickly you extinguish your shadow. You enlighten it, and that's a very beautiful thing. You travel in light years whenever you get to that point that you're responding to your own shadow with forgiveness and compassion. Did I answer that okay for you? That's okay? All right. Yes, Vicki?
And so when you worked on each individual and we all stayed connected, what you did was actually you were getting all of us at all times?
Yeah, everybody was upgrading, and not only that, every single person's sacred gifts were being utilized for this process. We were the crystal of the Holy Oath, as we were holding hands with everyone in this room and with the cosmic entourage of the 9 clusters also participating in this. And that's what that original opening blessing was about. But every single person in here contributed to each step of this service today. And we were all of the holy crystal of the Holy O, and it took all of us to do what has been done. Yeah.
I have a question.
Yes.
I'm not quite sure how to put this in words, but I've been listening to some talks by Bruce Lipton, who wrote The Biology of Belief, and he talks about how the subconscious is programmed when you're a young child, so that a lot of what outpictures in your life comes from that programming that you're not even aware of. And you can do affirmations and all these conscious things, but that's only going to go so far as long as your subconscious is the way it is. So my question is, from your viewpoint, what is the relationship between our individual subconscious and, say, the subconscious of the planet? Or do we have one subconscious for all of humanity, which wouldn't be true if each one of us is programmed differently when we're little? How does all that work?
Well, we have 7 levels of consciousness, and when you're a child, the big people in your life, your parents, your school teachers, if you're in religion, you wind up adopting their beliefs, and weirdly enough, they don't know where that came from them, and people don't. All the beliefs from me, you, anybody else, the people that indoctrinated us, are about the parts of life that we have no knowing of. And that's the anatomy of belief. It's our opinion about what we don't know. Every person knows a sliver of life, It's their area of expertise, and it might be what you were educated in or did for 40 years. You'll know all about that. But if you get outside of that area, the rest of life you don't know about, well, that's the part that you have belief about. So it's our opinion about what we don't know, and it's stuck in there. It's in our subconscious from our own personal programming, but there's a deeper programming from our past lives and the lineage patterns that we carry. And that comes through the unconscious. And the only way I know to deal with that is when it comes up. You have to tell the truth. And I got a real good taste of this when I was raising my sons. They would push my buttons, and I would send them to the room. You know, I'm gonna do a blessing on you, do an equation on you. And I would get in there, and it would always be Dad that needed a treatment. They were actually fine, but they had violated my subconscious programming, and so I would do the clearing on me, and I got my flower bed weeded by going through that process. And whatever comes up in a person's life that's a conflict will always be related to their belief programming, and that's the part of our being that you have to do the parable of Christ consciousness with. If you try to figure it out and fix it yourself, you're playing into the hands of it, and you won't get anywhere. You'll get another experience of aggravation and the frustration is what will happen, because you'll go down the path of the negative ego, and you will get fear, pain, and punishment doled out on you. And so breaking out of that, you do it through your own life experience when your shadow appears, and you have to start making appropriate responses. You have to take responsibility for it, and blaming it on other people won't get you anywhere except another experience of the same or similar situation. So that's how we deal with that. And if you accept the problems, worries, and concerns that comes into your life as the purging of your shadow, and you're proficient at responding with forgiveness and compassion, you move through that stuff quickly. But you never get anywhere if you're stuck in the blame game or picking up other people's bad stuff, not like it's yours, you know, and that's blaming it on other people too. So we got to stop that. That's a belief response to the shadow. And overcoming that by living the parable is what has to happen. And that's how you heal it. So there's a way to deal with it. And see, the subconscious, it not only purges in your dream time, it is what controls coordinate function and heals your body. And it's through the contamination of belief that we grow old, get sick, and die. If our being was integrated with knowing consciousness, it gives us eternal life, just like the original life we lived in the ancient world as a holy being of the holy old, with a 700 million year life experience without in a single lifetime, you know. And so it's about switching over from belief to knowing, and there's a way to do that, but it requires a person seeking it and participating in it and willing to be responsible for their own shadow. And you can get to the end of it. Okay? Yes, Marjorie?
Yesterday you mentioned that I have 6 parallel lives going on. Can you elaborate?
Yeah, you know, when we're human, we're all fractured. We got parallel lives and stuff. To come back into your vessel is to be you till full. Be you till full is be beautiful. To be beautiful is to be you till full. And you keep applying this truth to you, and these fragments and components of your being come back into your divine expression. But the parallel lives of fracturing is a big time problem of people having the correct perception of what's happening here and now. Yeah. And so I'm glad that we can now work on that. That just came in on this trip. So that's wonderful. And see, the higher up the ladder we go, the deeper into the shadow we can purge. And when you get to cosmic consciousness, you start having these realizations that used to be hidden in your illusions, that your problems were caused by somebody else or something. And that all has the parallel life mechanism makes that real cloudy and confusing and hard for people to grasp. So I'm very thankful that we get to work on that now. And it heals up real nicely. I'm real pleased with the results of it. Okay?
Sort of.
Okay. Someone else got a comment or question? Connie?
I have a question about miracles, how miracles fit into our realization of, our being all that we can be. Rita and I recently have been experiencing some miracles together, and it's really fun. Is that part of it, the joy?
Yeah, I think that every day, that you go up the ascension ladder and you have a new method of dealing with your shadow is a miracle. Yeah, ascension is a miracle. And it's a miracle that we can find our way back home by living the parable of being a Christed being. That's a miracle. So there's lots of them, and the propelling of our divine order is a miracle. And the earth has so many new things have happened on this planet in the last 25 years. I think going back to the harmonic convergence in '87 is what really set things into this path. And then these other things, resetting the cosmic pulse, and the Akashic being quit mutating in '03, and the paradigms of higher consciousness started integrating the earth grid. And then we had, at the end of the Mayan calendar, the Aquarian age came in and changed the timeline in the earth grid, so that the earth would nurture and support those that opened their minds and heart and would live the parable of being a Christed being. And then the eclipse in September of 2015 started a exiting of the downfall world in a 6-year process off of the planet. So these are all miracles, Yeah. So yeah, I like miracles. Yeah. I like them real well. Okay. Thank you for that. Any other comments or thoughts?
Kind of have a segue back into your response to Cosima's question about working with the shadow and being more nurturing to yourself. And I know I personally discover if I'm not being nurturing to myself that I'm a lot crankier and have less compassion for others. And I have my own tools. Would you be willing to share some of what your tools are for being self-nurturing, starting your day in a certain way? And
Yes. Well, my day starts by being of service to my wife. And I bring her lemon water and her coffee in bed, and then I make us a smoothie while she's getting ready for work. And then once she goes to work, then I never start work until noon when I'm in Arkansas, because I got to take care of Dad. And that's when I do my physical activity, my walk, going to the gym, Tibetan rites, meditating, seeking the next steps in the ascension process. And then I have the people in Arkansas that I work with that are kind of my research and development lab to bring this is like the finished product. But it had to go through a creation process. But if you're taking care of yourself, you have fun doing the rest of your day. If you've never experienced that, I invite you to give it a try, because it's like my wife asks me if I'll do something, and I'll say, well, only if I can have fun doing it. And that requires that you take care of yourself on the front end. It's not selfish. It's required. If you want to be a light worker, you have to do it. And you cannot get away with abusing yourself or others. Your path will stop, and you won't get very far. So you got to make the commitment to get yourself in order. And I turned 65 2 weeks. Oh, that's the 10th of this month, and it's like I want to keep doing this for a long time. I at least want to go through 2024 when the really big thing happens, and beyond, because I'm having a ball, and it takes a lot of taking care of your needs and stuff and making that first part of the day yours. And so that's what works for me, and it'll work for you too. Okay?
Thank you.
You're welcome. All right, very welcome. Okay, y'all had enough? Yeah, turn on the lights and eat up all the food up there before you try to drive.